Part 7. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 61. In a VIP private room upstairs, two Foundation establishment cultivators were sitting, looking at the rush to take pictures outside, both excited and disdainful. Junior brother Lou, I really didn't expect that so many spiritual stones could be taken out in this remote place. It seems that if we just sprinkle something out, the uninformed guys outside will be able to steal their heads. Senior brother Chen is very right, junior brother Lou nodded triumphantly. It seems that we have spent a lot of effort to grab this opportunity, but it is very worthwhile. How can this Yongxia Dan be sold at such a high price in our realm? His heart was bubbling with beauty. It didn't take much time to go on this trip, but he could earn a lot of spirit stones, not to mention the gift from the city lord of Lao Shizi, and the people from the small sect who passed by beating around the bush. Although the gift sent by someone else's hand is very expensive to transmit once, the transmission fee is paid by the sect, and they do not need to give out a spirit stone. That's why, when they came, in addition to the spiritual stones that were placed up and down, they also replaced all the spiritual stones on their bodies with magic tools, spiritual pills, and other spiritual materials, and even gave a sum of spiritual stones on credit to see one outside. A blushing fool, the sense of superiority in their hearts is unprecedentedly high. Senior brother Chen said that it was because he had little knowledge and had not seen many good things, so he was fighting so hard. I have already inquired about it. So it is still popular. Junior brother Lou said it's a pity, it only happens once every 10 years, otherwise, hee. This is the lack of greed. If it wasn't for a 10-year respite, Tianlin continent would have been swept away by these outsiders long ago, and no one can afford to buy things no matter how good they are. In the end, Yun Ludan was photographed by the elders of the North Star sect at a high price of more than 5,000 spirit stones, which attracted the envy of everyone, and said that the North Star sect was indeed rich and powerful. Several items to be auctioned in the following are also related to the monks in the Foundation building period, including medicinal pills, magic weapons, and spiritual materials and other heavenly and earthly treasures. Guyao and the others also heard senior brother Jiang's warm and steady voice below, as if such an intense scene could not shake his calm style, it stood out among the voices screaming. After more than 10 rounds, the first wave of highs and tides subsided a little, and items suitable for high-level qi refining cultivators appeared. Guyao and a few people were a little interested. In fact, the auction result of Yongxiadan made him quite excited, because he saw the future of the alchemist, and it seemed that he was more ambitious than the previous pharmacist. He believed that as long as he cultivated to the top-grade Yongxia Dan could definitely be refined. Thinking about throwing a Yongxia Dan, he could harvest thousands of spirit stones. Then he still needs to worry about the spirit stone? Seeing that Guyao was alone, there was an indulgent smile in Qi Changai's eyes. Guyao was not a difficult person to understand, so he could guess what Guyao was thinking at the moment, but Guyao forgot a little, repaired the higher the level, the more spiritual stones that need to be consumed. How can I put it, the desires and aspirations of monks are not necessarily smaller than those of mortals, and there is no time to fill them up. It's just that some people can keep their hearts, but some people are blinded by desire, and they become greedy and unscrupulous. Thinking of the past, coldness flashes in Qi Changai's eyes, and he will go back one day. After leaving here with Guyao, after the foundation is established, this place will become less and less suitable for cultivation. Senior brother Joe also called the price once. It is an elixir that can help the qi refining stage. It's a pity that it took a while. It's over, it can be seen that the money is shy, and the competition can't compete with others. Huh. Isn't it true that most of the people who can enter Tianfu Academy are second-generation ancestors with a lot of money? The next auction is a piece of extraterrestrial meteorite, but our appraiser can't clearly identify what it is, but it really belongs to the extraterrestrial. Interested deists can buy it and study it, maybe there will be unexpected gains. The auction will start below, the starting price is 10 spirit stones, and each increase will not be less than 1 spirit stone. The item projected on the platform was a red stone, the size of the basin, the auctioneer's introduction and the unexpectedly low price, which made everyone look at the stone, but Guyao's eyelids jumped, and he turned to Chi Changji. Said, "Brother Ye, let's take a picture of this stone." Chi Changji didn't ask Guyao why he wanted to take the photo, and he responded without thinking, "Okay, I'll take the photo." The three people next to them all looked at these two people with the eyes of idiots. There is really no use for such a stone. Why spend this on just money? Could it be that Guyao wants to bet that there is something good in the stone? The two people in the VIP private room were also talking about this stone, and junior brother Lu sneered and said, "I don't know where I picked it up. I casually call it a meteorite from the outside world. Maybe it's just garbage from outside the sky." Even Master Yan is not optimistic. This thing is to deceive these fools. Brother Chen smiled and said, "Maybe they want to gamble on luck, who makes them poor." 15 spirit stones. Junior brother Lu looked out, "I didn't expect someone to ask for a price." It turned out to be the pauper in the hall below. "Senior brother, do you think we should increase the price for them?" Senior brother Chen shook his head and said, "Don't do it anymore. What if they don't think it's worth it and don't want to film it? Just watch the fun, okay?" 20 spirit stones. Su Chen rarely came out to take a look. This kind of auction would be extremely boring to him. There is nothing that can be seen. Seeing that Guyao is going to buy a red stone, in his opinion, it is almost the garbage in the sky. Curious, do you know what that stone is? What are you filming for? Guyao rolled his eyes and said, "I won't tell you, this is my secret." Su Chen, it's rare for you to tell me. You can leave it alone." Su Chen also rolled his eyes and retracted back into the pill pavilion. How many good things have he seen, and his vision is comparable to that of Guyao. So even he can't see how valuable items are, how good they can be. With this time, he should study the pharmacist's extraction method that Guyao told him. There are indeed merits. After the auction, except for Guyao who harvested an unknown red extraterrestrial meteorite, everyone else walked out empty-handed. After meeting with senior brother Zhang, they were told to gather early tomorrow morning, and they were about to leave for Tianfu College. It was time to say goodbye to their families. Taking advantage of this last time, Guyao and Chi Changji went outside for a walk again to buy the items they liked. I don't know when they will come to Shifang City next time. From the current situation, we can see that the various resources here are the most complete. Chang Ye also bought some materials for making talismans and refining arrays. City Lord Meng respectfully handed a storage ring to Senior Brother Yan. "Senior Brother Yan, this is the harvest this time and the dedication of the past 10 years, Senior Brother Lian has sent it back to the sect." Seeing Senior Brother Yan accept it, City Lord Meng heaved a sigh of relief. This time, he finally managed to meet up perfectly, with a slightly lighter expression on his face. "Relax, Brother Yan and the two nephews will not stay for a few more days. Although Tianlin continent is backward in practice, there are still some good scenery and dangerous places worth exploring. No, it's important to return to the sect to hand over the task. Yan Mao will leave here. Junior brother Meng takes care." Senior brother Yan looked at Guyan and the three standing by the side. "You guys, come with me." "Yes, senior." Guyan was so excited that he could even ignore the obvious contempt of the two foundation building cultivators. He was not stupid and knew that these people could not afford to offend them. Outer disciples can be pinched to death by them at any time. Looking at the two people on the other side who were laughing with the two cultivators of the foundation establishment period, jealousy flashed in Guyan's eyes. He only knew after seeing these two people that the Shifang City Lord's mansion had been collecting information for Chang Xianmen. A seedling with excellent aptitude, such a good seedling will become an inner disciple as soon as he enters the section. It is very different from the treatment he receives. Even their family will also receive special care from the City Lord's mansion, but he does not. Junior brother Lu glanced at Guyan and muttered, "I don't know which senior in the sect sent this token out, and this kid's aptitude may not be able to enter the sect in our realm. Let's go." After returning home, Master Yan will investigate this matter. It has nothing to do with us, and we may not be able to get in touch in the future with this qualification. It would be even more difficult to get ahead in the sect. Start. The teleportation array once again found the radiant light, and as the light dissipated, the monks in the array had been teleported out. City Lord Meng completely relaxed. Fortunately, the sect gave him a reward, and he did not gain anything here. Instead of returning to the sect and being stepped on by other Jindan cultivators, he might as well stay here to accumulate some resources for future generations. Start. This time, Teacher Fang changed a flying instrument, which is in the shape of a boat. It can accommodate nearly 1,000 people when the wind rises. Now there are only a few hundred people on the boat, which looks very spacious. He swept away and left Shifang City at an extremely fast speed. Tianfirong was a little sad at first. After all, he was far away from his family and eldest brother. No one wiped his and told him to practice. After the city, the little fat man's mood improved obviously. Like a bird released from a birdcage, his eyebrows trembled. Guyao can't be said to have any sadness. Shifang City is just a transit station. Yuanyang Town, if it is not the birthplace of the predecessor, there will be no nostalgia. On the contrary, he is looking forward to the Tianfu Academy that he will enter, and he is a little excited. Laughing at Qi Changjai. There was no shortage of arrogant second-generation ancestors on the boat. When they came up, they disliked this and that. They were fanned out by Teacher Fang, and they were honest. Tianfirong was the most gloating when he saw this, because he had also suffered from Teacher Fang's palm, and now it was the turn of others to be happy. If the conditions are not good, I will take the flying instrument to the academy by myself. Today I will teach you how to be good. Although the academy is free, it is also a place to talk with fists. If you don't have the ability to defeat Laozi, you will be obedient to Laozi. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 62. The newly recruited students dare not speak out, so they can only honestly put away their temper. So the next journey. The atmosphere on board was much more harmonious. Because there are a few days away, Guyao spends most of the time in the cabin room to practice and read, and occasionally go out to relax. He is not very interested in joining other students, and Qi Changjai is even less interested. After all, he is just Guyao on the bright side. His entourage, other students don't know how powerful he is, and they don't take him seriously. Tianfirong and Little Fatty are uncontrollable people. They often go out and make some friends. They come back and tell Guyao and Qi Changjai, those guys are actually forming gangs. I asked someone to inquire, and I heard that after entering the academy, it's not easy to get along, unless there is a special spirit stone to buy people, or it's a hard fist, like Teacher Fang. If you beat people honestly, you will be obedient. Guyao, brother Qi, what do you think we should do? Qi Changjai is wiping his sword. Although it is not as good as his original sword that has been with him for many years, it is just a low-grade magic weapon bought in Yuanyang Town, but Jiangziu cannot help but love swords. Qi Changjai usually takes good care of it. The movement in his hand didn't stop. He looked up at Tianfirong and continued to lower his head. This sight made Tianfirong's heart skip a beat. He had no doubt that if Qi Changjai chose, he would choose the second method without hesitation, which is to beat people up. I've accepted it, but he doesn't have the ability, sadly. Gu Yao frowned and said, I don't have that time. I went to the academy to study. Joining that kind of gang is a waste of time. As long as they don't come to provoke me, it's fine. If they come. Gu Yao pulled out a few words. A jade bottle, this is the poison that he newly refined after he arrived at Shifang City. Tian Furong shuddered, she didn't even need to look to know what was in the bottle, mother, the two were more brutal than the other. Then he turned his head and whispered to the little fat man for a while, and the little fat man who didn't know the reason at first also trembled, cruel. Really brutal? Tian Furong said with a flattering smile, then me and the little fat man, let's hang out with you. You have to practice and learn. You definitely don't have time to deal with the external affairs. Leave it to me and the little fat man, don't you think? Saying this, he winked at the little fat man. Yes, brother Tian is right, the little fat man said very wisely. Tian Furong gave him a praising look, Fatty is not bad, he knows how to cooperate with him. The little fat man said in his heart that if he was not alone and without support, he needed to hug a thigh to live a comfortable life, and the ghost was embarrassed with this guy. No, it was cooperation. Gu Yao patted Tian Furong on the shoulder admiringly, and said, Tian our brother is just enough loyalty, then I will ask Tian our brother and little fatty. Tian Furong was flattered, he definitely had meat to eat with Gu Yao. Chi Changjai twitched the corners of his mouth. This model is obviously not much different from that in Yuanyang town. If there is, Tian Furong is more dependent on him and Gu Yao. After all, there is no one in the academy. The Tian family made him rely on him. I have to say that this model is pretty good, and this guy Tian Furong is also very good at doing things. It only took him a long time to let him get to know some of the second-generation ancestors on the ship and find out the situation in the academy. Zhang Yan and Zhou Li saw everything that happened on the boat, they didn't intervene or explain. Tianfu Academy has its own rules of survival. Hearing Zhou Li tell him about those juniors, Zhang Yan held his chin with a smile on his face. It seems that everyone is very energetic. I believe that after entering the academy, they will adapt well, so we don't need to worry about it. Zhou Li twitched the corners of his mouth, is he still adapting well? If it wasn't for Senior Fang's single-handed suppression, the demons would still be dancing at this moment. The tap sounded, and Zhang Yan said warmly, please come in. It was Bai Shiu'er who pushed the door and came in, holding a tray in one hand. Bai Shiu'er smiled sweetly, Senior Brother Zhang, I made some flour cakes for the two brothers to taste and give Shiu'er some advice. Zhang Yan smiled intoxicatingly, okay, Junior Brother Zhou and I will taste Shiu'er's craftsmanship, thank you Shiu'er. Bai Shiu'er handed the tray to Zhou Li and left happily. Zhang Yan picked up a piece of flour cake with his white jade fingers and tasted it slowly, with a very happy expression on his face. Zhou Li hurriedly stuffed a piece into his mouth, his eyes lit up after eating, it's delicious, I didn't expect Junior Sister Bai to have such a skill, but Senior Brother, you're too bad, every bite of the show will take the soul of Junior Sister Bai. I was hooked by Senior Brother still lacks admirers in the academy. And Senior Brother, you are breaking the rules, right? You still don't get involved in accepting the cakes from Junior Sister Bai. Zhang Yan raised his brows, and Zhou Li quickly waved his hand, yes, Senior Brother, you can be happy, Junior Brother, I won't do it if I don't speak, I will eat. Well, for the unique skill of Junior Sister Bai, it's okay to take more care of me, as long as Junior Sister brings more flour cakes. Many people on the boat watched Bai Shiu'er's movement. When they saw her coming out empty-handed, they knew that this was a signal that Bai Shiu'er was covered by her senior brother. What is the origin of this Bai Shiu'er? Not only Senior Brother Zhang and the others, but Gu Yao and the others also got the flour cake from Bai Shiu'er. When Gu Yao took a bite of the flour cake, he felt a gentle aura overflowing from his mouth, making his pores feel comfortable. It exploded, and she couldn't help but glance at Bai Xiu in surprise. This flour cake was not only delicious, it seemed that the spiritual energy in it was very mild and easily absorbed. No, no, it was much more than that. When he tasted a piece of green flour cake, a cool aura rushed to his forehead, and he felt refreshed and his eyes lit up. Chi Changji paused while holding the cake in his hand, and then continued as if nothing had happened. Tian Furong and Little Fatty couldn't care about talking anymore, their mouths were stuffed with cakes, so they could only nod in agreement to express their opinions. Bai Xiaokai smiled with frowning eyes, as long as the brothers like it, the sisters will also make some flour cakes. In Shifang City, I happened to collect some spirit flour ingredients. After entering the academy, senior brothers and sisters took care of them. It's easy to say, Gu Yao agreed. Bai Xiu'er closed it when she saw it, turned and left. Junior sister Bai is really virtuous, I didn't expect her craftsmanship to be so good, Tian Furong boasted. Gu Yao asked Chi Changji curiously, brother, yeah, do spirit chefs have such good craftsmanship? Chi Changji still took Gu Yao's question seriously, and after reminiscing about the flour cake like chewing wax, he said, it seems to have more than Ling Chu, maybe it's the different way of handling the ingredients. I'm sorry, he didn't have much research on Ling Chu. He lived with Gu Yao in Yuanyang town before, and he only learned to cook the food, not to mention the deliciousness, let alone the skills of Ling Chu. I can probably guess a little. The voice of Su Chen in his mind made Gu Yao's brows tremble, and he hurriedly asked, Senior, guess what? Su Chen said, it is very likely that this female cultivator is not a complete human, and has blood from other races in her body. If it can be proved that she is only good at serving Linghua and other cooking skills, it will be even more proof. Gu Yao, the pupils shrank slightly, maybe Su Chen really guessed. Chi Changji kept Gu Yao's expression changes in his eyes, but didn't say anything. He and Gu Yao met by chance, and they walked together by accident. Gu Yao had secrets, and he didn't fully reveal the past to Gu Yao. Case. Along the way, I flew for 5 days and 5 nights without stopping. On the 6th day, I finally reached the destination, Tianfu Academy. Gu Yao, who was notified, came out early and stood on the flying instrument to overlook the panorama of the college. Tianfu College is built on a continuous mountain range. When viewed from above, there are clouds and mists below. There are birds passing through it, and occasionally a corner is revealed. The self-cultivation bumpkin, Gu Yao, who came from the Star Alliance, was completely dumbfounded and fascinated by it. He dared to say that if such a scene was moved to the interstellar world, it would definitely cause a sensation in the entire alliance, and he would probably be able to eat, drink, and wait for death by charging for tickets. That side is Qingxiumen, because there are several snow peaks there, so it has this name. Senior brother Zhou pointed them in a direction to introduce. The middle area between Qingxiumen and our academy belongs to the disciples and students of the two sides. The trial ground is shared, so you know. Tian Furong pounded his head again and again. He knew, of course he knew, didn't he say it before in Shifang City? Then he tried not to go out before, or he earned a lot of spirit stones and hired experts to beat the disciples of Qingxiumen. Just do it. Senior brother Zhou smiled and continued to introduce, there is a place in the middle called the Kaiok Mountains. There are many dangerous places in it, but the resources are relatively rich, and it has always been a place that are to contend for. After you enter the academy, you can buy a map. All places are marked on it. The more spiritual stones there are, the more detailed the map will be. Tian Furong twitched the corners of his mouth, looked at the unscrupulous senior brother Zhou speechlessly, and said without thinking, Senior brother Zhou, doesn't it mean that senior brother Zhou is responsible for the piece of the map sold? Otherwise, why did you start recommending this map to them before entering the academy? It's suspicious, really suspicious. Senior brother Zhou smiled brightly, junior brother Tian really has a good eye, This business is in charge of our Xingyu Chamber of Commerce, so after a few seniors enter the academy, they must support them a lot. Seniors, I will let someone give you a discount. How much? Tian Furong's mouth twitched again. He just said casually, did he really say that he guessed it right? No day. It's done. 20% off, what, senior brother, I'm enough. Senior brother Joe burst out laughing. Nonsense. Tian Furong gritted his teeth, this unscrupulous profiteer. The flying instrument plunged into the mountains below, and the clouds and mist dispersed to both sides. The instrument that suddenly appeared stunned a group of birds and thumped. Go, black dots fell one by one, and when I saw what it was, there was a scream on the instrument. Ah! Why is the first gift you get when you come to Tianfu Academy is bird shit? What a bad taste for people who remove their protective shields. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 63. After landing, Teacher Fang waved his sleeves and left, handing over the new students to Zhou Li and others to deal with. Gu Yao's body was the cleanest, and they didn't get a single piece of bird shit, because they were stopped by Qi Changjai's sword Qi before the bird touched him, and Tian Furong and Little Fatty quickly hid to Gu Yao. Behind him, he was spared a catastrophe. Wearing a white dress, Bai Xiu'er covered her lips and laughed softly, her eyes turning into crescents. There were even a lot of old students from the academy, who were disturbed by the movement here and rushed to watch. When he heard what they were saying, Gu Yao couldn't help but wipe his sweat. It turns out that every time a student enters the academy, they have to make a fool of themselves, but every time they come back, it's different. It turned out that when you enter the academy, you don't have to leave the place before, because that's where the academy keeps birds. If you go from there, even a fool can guess what the result will be. Therefore, the person who controls the flying instrument is clearly intentional. So the question arises, who is the person who controls the instrument? Gu Yao intuitively thought that it was unlikely to be Teacher Fang, so he was one of the brothers and sisters who followed to Shifang City. Zhang Yan walked out and said with a gentle smile, let's go, I'll take you to your residence first, and you can change and wash there. Thank you, Senior Brother Zhang. Senior Brother Zhang is really a good man. Brother Zhang is the most gentle. Zhou Li secretly pouted, these idiots. On the way, everyone had a booklet in their hands, which introduced the situation of the college. For example, accommodation is divided into 4 grades and 4 areas, A, B, C, and D. The grade A area has the highest grade and needs to pay the most fees. The D area can live without paying spiritual stones, but in such a college, you can imagine what would happen if you moved in. Of course, paying for spiritual stones is not without benefits. The spacious place to live is secondary, and the most important thing is that the higher the grade, the higher the concentration of spiritual energy, so even if you are unfortunate to go to the D district, you will desperately do tasks to accumulate spirit stones, move them to District C, and then find a way to move them up. The first to go is the A district, and the D district is the last. District A is a courtyard with 10 acres of spiritual fields and a dozen houses. Although the living fee is a bit expensive, the value of 10 acres of spiritual fields is still very considerable. Tian can definitely earn this spiritual stone back, and there will be extra. So my suggestion is not to force yourself to live in Area A when you first arrive. Unless you have a lot of money, you can learn to grow spiritual grass in the academy first. Only by serving Lingtian and mastering this skill can the value of these 10 acres of Lingtian be maximized. There are many inspirational brothers and sisters in the academy. You can inquire about them in your spare time. They are very famous in the academy. Standing at the door of District A, you can feel the strong spiritual energy coming from your face. Guyao intoxicated and took a breath. The spiritual energy in Yuanyang town is the most sparse. Later, he went to Shifang city, which made him amazed. Although the aura in District A cannot be compared with the city lord's mansion in Shifang city, it is also much richer than that in Shifang city. Check in. Here, compared with Yuanyang town, it can be described as an overnight success. Without giving up, he opened the brochure and glanced at it. The 1-year stay fee here is 1,000 spirit stones. Guyao couldn't help but go crazy. Now where are you going to raise this spiritual stone? I knew that I should save it, and Guyao wanted to cry without tears. Chi Changjai touched the storage bag on his body and looked a little embarrassed. He didn't expect that his life had just improved, and he would be so depressed that he couldn't even afford a better place to live. The responsibility of providing for the family is still on his shoulders, and he can't be neglected for a moment. Tianfirong also touched the storage bag, but there was no sound. The family paid the admission fee for him and sent him in. It is impossible to take out a large sum of spirit stones for his daily expenses. In the future, he will have to rely on himself, so he can't afford it. The little fat man rolled his eyes a few times, moved his feet uncomfortably, and then stood quietly with Tianfirong. They agreed that living together would be much more interesting. It's not just 1,000 spirit stones, I've handed them over. Who else would like to be my neighbor? A big fat man with twice the tonnage of the little fat man walked out struttingly, followed by a thin grey-clothed entourage. He looked at the crowd triumphantly. You, Pei Yuchun, can afford it? Of course, I, Ho Chiang, can afford the cost. Senior brother Zhang, where can I pay the spirit stone? It's better to keep me and this fatty Pei far away. I don't want to be with him at all. Neighbor. A handsome young man in white who was swinging a folding fan also walked out, looking suave, attracting the beautiful eyes of several female students. I didn't expect it to be you, the monkey. You thought I would rarely be your neighbor. The farther away you are, the better. You're going to smell bad. Pei Yuchun fanned his nose with disgust. Seeing that the two were about to quarrel, senior brother Jiang's warm voice was like a spring breeze, blowing away the smoke that had not yet condensed. As soon as you enter the door, you can see the senior brother in charge of the toll distribution courtyard. What are your requirements? Your senior brothers will meet. Cooperate as much as possible. Thank you, senior brother Zhang. Senior brother Zhang is the model of my Ho someone. Ho Chiang put away the folding fan, bowed his hands to Zhang Yan, then turned around and walked inside the door. Seeing that Pei Yuchun was about to be preempted by this monkey, he quickly took it with him. Just rush in. These two people, Guyao, had already heard the name on the way here, and they were also the two most popular students that Tianfirong said. Teacher Fang's palm. Many individuals are hesitant to decide whether to live in this high-end area or not. Living in this area represents face. Although some people have just watched the joke of Pei Yuchun and Ho Chiang arguing, they have to say that they don't take this spiritual stone seriously. The lavishness is still very envious. When several senior brothers and sisters took them to District B, those who were hesitant behind them sparsely followed, because they knew that there were many places to spend spirit stones, so they couldn't really put all the spirit stones in the place where they lived. The housing in District B is also a courtyard, but the area is smaller. The built-in spiritual field is only 5 acres. Naturally, the aura is not as good as in District A, but the cost has been cut by half, and only 500 spiritual stones are needed, so many people rushed in. Seeing that there were still many people left outside, the students who walked in proudly puffed out their chests. Although they were no match for Ho Chiang and the others, they were much stronger than the poor people behind. Guyao touched his nose, he was also poor. The housing in District C can no longer be called a courtyard, it can only be said to be a rudimentary yard. There are only 2 acres of spiritual fields left. It can be judged from the state of aura that the level of this spiritual field is definitely no better than the previous two. Plants are definitely not that valuable. But compared to the first two, the occupancy fee is cheap, only 100 spirit stones. Chi Chang'ai silently handed Guyao a bag of spirit stones, exactly 100. Tianfirong and Little Fatty immediately saw the opportunity and said, "Let's pick a yard together, and then we'll give you our share of the spirit stone." In this way, it is not too expensive for 4 people to spend 100 spirit stones to live in a yard, especially under the stimulation from the front. Guyao actually thinks that the accommodation fee in District C is quite cheap. The pain came, so I nodded, "Give it if you have it, and I will talk about it later if it is inconvenient." Halala removed another half, and in the end less than 10 people went to the Ding district. After coming out of District D, Jolie said curiously, "I thought junior brother Gu and the others would live in District A, but I think they are very generous in the Shifang city, but I didn't expect that they couldn't even afford to live in District B." Zhang Yan said with a smile, "It's probably about the same cost, but in my opinion, it's much easier for them to want Lingxi than others. It's a matter of time before they move into District B, District A, and now it's fine, the higher the profile, the easier it will be to attract attention." Excited? Think. Jolie laughed twice, thinking that he just moved in here, and the veteran students should know about it. 2 new students have moved into District A this year, and most of the eyes of the old students should be focused on those 2. Then he gloated and said, "Today's initiation ceremony is really unique, senior brother, you." As soon as the words started, Jolie stopped immediately when he saw senior brother Zhang looking over with a half-smiling smile. The 4 of Guyao handed over 100 spirit stones and received 3 storage bags. Because Chi Chang'ai was not among the students, the storage bags contained basic daily necessities for each student. Of course, those daily necessities were not valuable, so together, there won't be a single spirit stone. The 4 of them picked a yard that was slightly off. The picture was quiet and quiet. Each yard had its own protection array, which required the entry jade card issued by the person in charge to open it. As for the followers, Guyao spent more than 5 spirit stones. After buying one, Chi Chang'ai twitched the corners of his eyes when he took the jade token. He had never seen such a wonderful place as Tianfu Academy, and he worked hard to earn spirit stones from students. Open the protective array and enter the yard. There is a tree planted in the yard. It may be left by the predecessors. The branches are lush, occupying a small half of the sky. Under the tree, a stone table and a few stone benches just happened to be placed. It seems that the former occupants were also very leisurely. Guyao said happily, "This yard is not bad, it's better than I thought, let's choose a room." "Hey, Guyao, just say yes, then I and Little Fatty will live in the West." Tianfirong, who was hit, quickly cheered up again. "Okay, then brother Ye and I will choose the room on the east side, and the main hall in the middle will be used for hospitality and as a public activity area," Guyao said. "Okay, listen to Xiao." Chi Chang'ai did not refuse. The 4 of them were divided into 2 booths, 4 rooms on the east side. Guyao and Chi Chang'ai lived in the middle. One at the 2 ends was used as a pill room, and the other was used as a talisman room. After the room was chosen, the 4 of them picked up their sleeves to clean up and decorate the yard. Although they didn't know how long they would stay here, they still had to be perfect so that they could live comfortably and satisfactorily. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 64. There are robots in the interstellar world, so you don't have to clean it yourself, but the world of self-cultivation also has the convenience of the world of self-cultivation, not to mention that there is a ban on dust prevention. A simple dust-removing charm can solve the problem. Correspondingly, there is also the thing of puppets. Guyao is still very interested in puppets, but unfortunately he can't get in touch with them now. The only thing that is lacking, Guyao thinks that it may be an entertainment. The star network all over the interstellar world is very worthy of praise compared to another virtual world in the real world. After packing up, the four of them went out for a walk together. They were familiar with the environment here. What was written on paper was not as real as what was seen. A few juniors, do you need a guide? As soon as the four of them stepped out of District C, they saw one person walking over and smiling. To ask. The four of them glanced at each other. Needless to say, this is also one of the ways for students in the academy to earn spirit stones. Now, whenever they see brothers and sisters smiling and talking, they can make them highly vigilant. Tianfirong came out with a light cough and said that he and the little fat man would be responsible for the outside affairs, so he couldn't break his promise. The strengths of Guyao and Qi Changjai lie in alchemy and talisman making. Oh no, Qi Changjai's real strength lies in fighting. Kills the monsters of the same level in seconds, so it seems that with Qi Changjai guarding him, it is not impossible to go to the Kyoku Mountains. Tianfirong and the senior brother chatted for a while, and the little fat man also eavesdropped on the past. The three of them came back after a while. The two sides had negotiated conditions, and the other party promised to take the four of them around the outer courtyard of the college. Special tokens or students from the inner courtyard can only be brought in. My surname is Kong, my name is Z, you can just call me senior brother Kong. This is my spirit bird, I will take you to fly lower, otherwise you will walk on your feet, and you won't be able to come back in the dark. Kong Ze blew a sound. The whistle, and then a big white bird flapped its wings and flew over, causing a small whirlwind below it. The bird is big enough, the back is very spacious, Guyao is very novel, the little fat man Hishan Firong couldn't wait to climb up. Qi Changjai's eyes twitched, and he stood firmly on the bird's back with a single jump. Guyao looked up, I feel a little stupid. Xiaoao, reach out. Okay, although Qi Changjai made himself look stupid, Guyao still happily stretched out his hand, and was gently pulled by a force, and the person floated down beside Qi Changjai. Kong Zi looked at, there were many smiles in his eyes, and after the four of them were seated, he jumped on the neck of the big bird and patted it lightly, and the white bird flew up. Qi Changjai and Xiaopang were fine. Guyao and Tianfirong had never had such an experience and were very excited. The white bird did not fly high under Kong Zi's control, and it was clearer than looking down from a flying instrument. When I left the residential area, I saw a lot of birds rising from the ground. It could be seen that many people were doing business like Kong Zi, perhaps trying their best to scavenge spirit stones from the new students. That building is a place for teaching exercises, and teaching basic alchemy, talisman, etc. Students who are new to the academy have to stay there for 2 years. Of course, you can also not go, as long as the cultivation base grows steadily for 2 years without slack in cultivation, otherwise, hee. Kong Zi laughed so much that Tianfirong and little fatty shivered. They both had the same ailment, and it would cost them their lives if they wanted to improve their cultivation. After 2 years, they will be divided into various peaks. Danfeng, Fufeng, Kifeng, and Wuifeng Jianfeng are the most popular peaks in our academy. They have very good qualifications. Once you enter the academy, you will be greeted by these peaks. Shanfeng recruited in the past, and Danfeng is the most popular. If you roll a few pills, there will be a bunch of people rushing to get them. Of course, it depends on whether you can roll them out. Enter the area. Guyao's black line, there are always people who like to call alchemy pills, whether it is belittling or jealous of alchemists. Kong Zi laughed again, there are also people who can't make meatballs and go bankrupt, and they are hired to plant spiritual fields, so this Danfeng should choose carefully. Rich. Who doesn't understand this truth? Tianfirong secretly thought, but with a smile on his face, he asked, which mountain are you from, senior brother Kong? Kong Zi is a veteran student, which means that he has been in the academy for at least 10 years. Of course, it is impossible to rule out that he was absorbed in the middle, so the first 2 years of transmission should be earlier. I am from Lincoln Peak. Well, it's right there. It seems that you new students are coming from that direction. Our Lincoln Peak specializes in domesticating spirit birds. In fact, Lincoln Peak is also very good. You can get a good income by renting spirit birds, Kong Xiu said. Thinking of the previous entrance ceremony, Tian Furong and Fatty both felt that Kong Zi was not being kind, so he specially mentioned this to them. Fortunately, they didn't receive it, otherwise they would not be disgusted to death. It seems to be pretty good too, but maybe I have the talent for alchemy, haha, Tianfei smiled. Every new student thinks this way, but there are only a handful of alchemists who can really make a fortune without lack of spirit stone flowers. I wish my junior brother good luck. When I get rich, I will cover my senior brother, Kong Zi also snorted. Look over there, there is the mission hall. If you want to earn spirit stones, but you don't know the market situation of the academy, you can go to the mission hall to have a look. There are various missions released there, and you can also go there to issue missions in the future. There is the Lingzi garden over there. There are a large area of Lingtian, which specializes in the cultivation of Linko. The mountain over there is the location of our college's collection pavilion. The entire mountain is owned by them. I will let Xiaobai fly closer to let you see clearly. Bring it close, you can see it clearly, and introduce the rules for entering the collection pavilion. Even if there are flying means of transportation, it took a lot of time to walk around the outer courtyard. Kong Zi also introduced them to some of the old students and famous organizations in the college, and finally sent them to the concentrated activities of the students. The area can also be called the commercial street of the outer courtyard. There are various shops and many street stalls. The owners behind the shops are either individual students with strong financial resources from the college, or some powerful organization, such as those gang forces. This place is not far from their living area, so Kong Zi will use this place as the last stop. Tian Furong also paid him 15 spirit stones, which is still the result of bargaining. Kong Zi, who received the spirit stone, was very satisfied. Before leaving, he said, "It's best to prepare a means of transportation. It can be a flying instrument, or you can rent a spirit bird. If you want to rent it, come to Lincoln Peak and report my name. I'll give you a discount." Tian Furong muttered, "No wonder Tianfu College called death for money, and on the first day, so many spirit stones were poached. Look over there, the shop of the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce." Gu Yao saw a shop with a particularly eye-catching decoration. A few people just approached and wanted to take a look. The beautiful female nun who greeted the guests at the door saw them and immediately said, "Welcome, today new students are admitted to the hospital. The Xingyu Chamber of Commerce will offer a 20% discount to new students. Want to go in and take a look?" The Xingyu Chamber of Commerce is the largest chamber of commerce in our Tianfu College. It has always been innocent, and the items sold are of high quality and quantity. Gu Yao glanced inside and felt that there was a lot of spiritual light inside. He felt that he should not step in. There was no spiritual stone in his pocket, so he pulled Qi Changjai's arm and walked to the side. Qi Changjai looked at Gu Yao's hand. He followed very obediently, and the corners of his mouth curved into a slightly invisible arc. When Tian Furong and the little fat man saw this, they hurried to catch up, baring their teeth. "Senior brother Joe said it nicely, a 20% discount, but it's a 20% discount without him, you profiteer." After strolling around and walking back to District C, I was stopped at the door again. I ran into the person who distributed the flyers. They wooed every student who came in and out to join the gang they recommended, and promoted the benefits of joining gangs and organizations. To escape. On the way, I heard Kong Zi remind them that a good organization such as the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce has to apply by themselves. After the application, if the Chamber of Commerce is interested, they have to organize an examination. Whether they have this qualification to join the chamber, not just anyone who wants to join. The more difficult the organization to enter, the higher the status and the greater the power, and this kind of gang that pulls people, if you want to enter, you have to pay an entry fee first. Therefore, it is also to seize the opportunity to pit the spirit stone. After eating some dry food and spiritual fruit prepared when they left Shifang City, the four of them sat together to discuss their future survival plans. Tianfirong suggested, "We can set up a stall first. Guyao, your medicinal pills, and Brother Qi, your spirit charms are of absolutely good quality, so you won't be able to sell them. When there are enough spirit stones, we can rent a small shop or learn from them. When someone else hires someone to be a clerk, they can do whatever they want without having to spend the whole day in the store. Whether it is to cultivate, or to inquire about news from various parties, it will take time." "Guyao is an alchemist." The little fat man looked at Guyao in surprise. "Nonsense, Guyao is not an alchemist. How do you think you are going to collect the hospital admission fee? Don't look at Guyao without a family to rely on, but he lives more comfortably than a family member like me. Guyao and Brother Qi are very capable." Tianfirong boasted to the little fat man with a proud look, and those who didn't know thought he was bragging about himself. Guyao raised his eyebrows secretly. The little fat man was really sensitive to alchemists. Guyao worried, "If you go to set up a stall, will someone make trouble and sabotage it? The academy is not a peaceful place. In the colleges and universities of the Interstellar Alliance, there are all kinds of unspoken rules under the bright surface. I don't believe that people here will not be stared at." Tianfirong touched his chin. "I think you can put Guyao's name as an alchemist first by setting up a stall. According to what Senior Brother Kong said, a good alchemist has a very high status. Aren't they afraid of offending a future 8-rank alchemist?" Division. The little fat man opened his mouth and closed it again. He didn't know how to continue. Tianfirong was too confident. As far as he knew, except for Qi Changjai, who didn't know the situation, the three of them had very poor aptitudes, and the foundation was far away. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 65. The matter of setting up the stall was finally decided by Qi Changjai. "You can't be afraid of your head because you don't understand the situation. You can only know what you will attract by sticking out one foot first, and then you will know how to go next. Just hit it out." Thinking of Qi Changjai's astonishing combat effectiveness, Tianfirong is full of confidence in the plan to earn spirit stones. "Whoever dares to destroy it, Brother Qi." So for the next 2 days, Guyao and Qi Changjai focused on refining alchemy and making talismans in the small courtyard. Fortunately, they purchased a batch of supplies when they left Shifang City, otherwise it would be difficult for a clever woman to cook without rice. Tianfirong and Little Fatty are responsible for continuing to go outside to inquire about various news, as well as renting booths. They finally chose the one that is settled on a daily basis. Although the cost is relatively high, they only need to wait for the spiritual stone to be earned. How do they want to rent it? How can you rent it? During the period, the two students who lived in District A, Pei Yuchun and Ho Chiang, respectively sent representatives to draw them into their gang, claiming that as new students, they should unite to deal with the oppression of the old students. The new students in District B are also trying to win over to join their group. They are not like the old students, who do not need to pay for help. There are more students in District C. It is not about setting up an organization, but form a mutual aid group, big or small. If there is anything, help each other out, and if someone bullies you, you can be courageous by the number of people. Of course, Tianfirong and the little fat man came forward to deal with these, otherwise, this trip would interrupt Guyao's alchemy, and he would have to fry the furnace. 2 days later, Tianfirong and Little Fatty, who had everything ready, had the medicine pill handed over by Guyao and the magic talisman sent by Qi Changjai, and they could finally sell it out. Follow. The function of Qi Changjai is to control the stalls. Hearing Gu Yao's words, Qi Changjai twitched the corners of his mouth, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Who would dare to use him like this for those same sex in the past? Even if he was determined to make him die, he was also afraid of his strength and potential, and eliminated his opponents in advance. I have to say, staying with Gu Yao made him a lot more relaxed. He didn't leave Gu Yao at first. Apart from the damage to his cultivation, he also felt that he should take most of the responsibility for Gu Yao. The main ingredient, but the more you get along later, the more you can't help but set your eyes on him. With Gu Yao and Qi Changjai as their backers, Tian Furong really wanted to do a big job in Tianfu Academy, and now this small stall is his starting point in the academy, and he has prepared a plate with the name of the elixir on it, and their respective prices. Just after laying out the rows of jade bottles and stacks of spiritual talismans on the table, the owner of the stall next to them also came. Coincidentally, they were still acquaintances. Junior sister Bai. It turns out that you rented the stall next to it. Are you trying to sell flower cakes? Tian Furong said in surprise, drooling at the thought of the deliciousness of flower cakes. Bai Xiu'er was also very surprised to see them. Yeah, I'm here to sell flower cakes. I'm only good at this. If I don't sell flower cakes, my spiritual stones will be spent, and it's just right to see you. Someone can make a deal with me. A company. Bai Xiu'er, who was a little nervous at first, became much more relaxed now. She took out a plate from the storage bag, covered it with a transparent cover, and took out a piece of flour cake and cut it into small pieces and placed it on another small plate. Let the plate heat up slightly, and the rich fragrance wafts out immediately. The first to be attacked are Gu Yao and the others. People, even Qi Changjai, who has a bad appetite, can't help but move his nose. Tian Furong and Little Fatty had met Bai Xiu'er in the past 2 days. She was also in District C, so it was obvious that she was not a wealthy person. Gu Yao smelled the fragrance, swallowed his saliva, and patted his stomach pitifully. He clearly came out of breakfast, but now he feels hungry again. Just thinking about whether to buy some flour cakes to satisfy her cravings, Bai Xiu'er has already taken out a beautifully packaged bag. The son brought it to their table and smiled. This is what the junior sister invited you to eat. In the future, the senior brothers will take care of you. I've already eaten it once, and I'm sorry to eat it again. Gu Yao took a bottle of medicinal herbs and a magic talisman from the table and handed them over. Thank you for the invitation, junior sister, and please try our medicinal pills and magic talismans. Bai Xiu'er didn't care at first, but when she opened the jade bottle, she saw that it was a high-grade Qi Dan, which was suitable for her current cultivation. The value of this pill and magic talisman, which was used to escape her life at a critical moment, was far more than her flour cake, and Bai Xiu'er felt ashamed. Tian Furong said carelessly, Junior sister Bai doesn't need to worry about it, these medicinal pills and magic talismans are all ours. In the future, junior sister Bai will just give more discounts when they sell our flour cakes. Of course, if you want to buy medicinal pills and magic talismans, we will give them to Bai. Junior sister discount. Bai Xiu'er glanced at Gu Yao in surprise. Needless to say, he made the pills. Gu Yao was supposed to be an alchemist, but he didn't expect that his alchemy skills were so good that they were no worse than those senior brothers and sisters from Danfan in the academy. When he got up, he still got his hands on the cheap. He smiled and said with a crooked eye, okay, then junior sister, I'm welcome. If you want to eat flour cakes, feel free to come to me. Great. Selling medicinal pills, selling spirit talismans, top-grade medicinal pills and spirit talismans. Selling flour cakes, selling delicious flour cakes. The 2 stalls are located in a relatively remote location. They are newcomers who can't afford to pay a lot of money. Of course, they are in the same corner. However, the names of the top-grade medicinal herbs and magic talismans and the tangy aroma of flour cakes are still the same. Attracted many people. Tian Firong and Little Fatty were hawking in the front, while Guyao and Chi Changjai opened the bag and ate the flour cakes. While eating by themselves, they didn't forget to pass it to the two coolies in front. Guyao was studying the bag. It was soft like cotton cloth, but the texture was like paper. Chi Changjai glanced at it and said, "It's the leaf of a kind of spiritual flower. After special treatment, this kind of leaf can also be used as paper to write on. No wonder, I think the pattern on it looks like a leaf. It's a clever idea. It's used to hold flour cakes, and it won't be smelly, and it's light and beautiful," Guyao praised. The fragrance of Bai Shiuer's flour cake attracted several female students, and they all asked for the price. The price was slightly more expensive than other cakes. There are so few people watching from a distance, perhaps waiting for them to suffer. After buying the flour cakes, two female students turned to the side, pointed to the bottle and said, "Top grade pills. Really top grade? Top grade Yuki pills? Top grade Huishun pills. Junior sister, don't be deceived, and don't look at these people, they are clearly just entering the academy. Can they come up with an intermediate grade high grade medicinal pill? Think the people in the academy are those idiots outside who don't know how to do it?" A male practitioner came over to stop the female practitioner from taking action. Before Tian Firong became annoyed, the little fat man became annoyed first, and clenched his fists and said, "You don't even have a look at the medicinal pill, so you can boldly conclude that we are selling fake medicinal pills? Are all the students of Tianfu Academy all about it? With your virtue, you can only open your eyes and speak the vernacular." Tian Firong glanced at the little fat man in surprise. He didn't expect the little fat man to protect him first. Guyao and Chi Changjai looked at each other and felt that there was a reason for the incident. The male student was even more angry. The new student dared to carry him with him, and didn't want to hang out in the academy. Just because you are new students, don't say that you are already a 9th rank intermediate alchemist when you first entered the academy. If your elixir is real, I will eat this table. The little fat man still wanted to scold him, but was stopped by Tian Firong. He didn't think there was anything to scold, because their medicinal pills were real, and the level of their medicinal techniques was also real, which made them invincible. The old and new students who were attracted by the quarrel around their eyes couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. This is a good opportunity to make a name for themselves. It is time to thank this idiot for helping them, and it is not so pleasing to please beautiful women. Okay. According to what my brother said, the medicine pill is real, and my brother has to eat this table, Tian Firong shouted loudly, and people from far away could hear his voice. Someone picked his ears. I seem to hear a familiar voice. Who is yelling over there? Immediately someone ran over and told him, it was the old and new students who had a quarrel over an elixir stall. The two sides were betting on the authenticity of the elixir, and they were selling intermediate level high-grade elixir. The old student said it was fake, and he didn't believe that the new student could get it. "Come out." The man patted his forehead and walked over there. "I know who it is, hurry up and watch the fun. Who is that old student?" "It's that guy Wu Feng," in order to please the two junior sisters. It turned out to be him. This kid actually did such a rude thing. The new student has just been here for a few days, so he's not afraid of being embarrassed. When these two people arrived, Wu Fengzheng said, "Okay, if the medicinal pill is fake, all of you will be my followers for a month and follow me. Senior brother Wu, you." The female student next to him wanted to speak out to stop him, but it's okay to change someone else. Wu Feng's behavior here is definitely the most humiliating, and the one who is called a good follower is actually a servant who should follow his orders. And the slaves, the kind that have to be beaten and scolded. "Junior sister, don't stop me, these new students don't know how high they are. They dare to deceive our old students. They have to teach them to be good and let them learn their lessons from now on. Wu Feng put on the attitude of old students taking care of new students. Others cheered and cheered in the back, waiting to see a good show, and when they heard someone shouting "Let me go," they were about to scold them angrily, but when they turned around and saw the person coming, they quickly gave way. I didn't expect to attract Senior Brother Joe. What do you think about this, Senior Brother Joe? Brother Joe? Guyao looked up and saw that it was Jolie who was walking over with a person, with a playful smile on his face. He didn't know who it was coming for. He raised a finger and shhh at Guyao and the others. So they also shut up and did not recognize him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 66. Jolie smiled and said, "What do you think?" Of course, I just stood there and watched. Others were stunned for a moment before bursting into laughter, saying with a smile that Senior Brother Joe was too funny. Jolie continued, "Madman Wu has seen several of their medicinal pills?" "No, I haven't seen it. People have been watching from the sidelines long ago, and Wu Feng never opened the jade bottle and looked at the medicine pill from beginning to end." Jolie said with an "oh." It turns out that Wu Lunzi made an assertion without looking at the pills. Wu Lunzi has grown up to his ability, and the new students have just come in and they have bullied new students, or Wu Lunzi. What do you think? Our veteran students are blind and can't tell whether the medicine is good or bad, so let me make a judgment, so as not to let the new students think that our veterans are acting recklessly. Yes, Senior Brother Joe is right. Let's witness it together with Senior Brother Joe. Wu Feng, do you agree? A few junior brothers agree. It doesn't matter who wins in the end. Wu Feng has an average reputation among the veteran students. Sometimes he does things with a single tendon, and his brain is dead. He doesn't hit the south wall and doesn't turn back. So in private, someone gave him the nickname Wu Lunzi, but he was weaker than him. He didn't dare to shout, but Jolie didn't have such scruples, and he was a madman Wu in person, so Wu Feng dared to be angry and dare not speak. Wu Feng was extremely annoyed. Jolie had everything to do with him this week, but he didn't think he lost, and said loudly, "As long as they dare to nod, there is nothing I dare not agree to." Tian Furong slammed the table and shouted, "Okay. The brothers have agreed. How can the brothers have stage fright? We agreed, and we asked Brother Joe and these brothers and sisters to identify the authenticity of the medicine pill. And quality." Others could hear the excitement in Tian Furong's voice, but they didn't see the slightest fear and worry on his face, thinking that these medicinal pills were real. Where did this kid come from? If the medicine pill is real, then you have to start it as soon as possible, and the price is slightly lower than that sold in the academy. That's because Tian Furong and Little Fatty inquired around this commercial street and knew what prices others were selling. On this basis, they set their own prices slightly. As long as they sell their reputation first, they will not be able to raise prices later. Question. Jolie said goodbye and stepped forward, and a seductive female cultivator next to her covered her lips and smiled, "Then let me join in the fun too." But looking at her eyes, others could tell that this seductive female cultivator was in the academy. Status is not low. A total of 3 people came. Jolie opened the first bottle of medicinal herbs and poured the medicinal pills into his palms. After the medicinal pills spun around, Jolie immediately raised his voice and said, "Okay. High-grade Huishun Dan." The charming female cultivator opened the second bottle and smiled slyly, "This is a top-grade Chi Chi Dan." The third male cultivator picked up the third bottle and said with a loud laugh, "Haha, the top-grade Chi Hui pill, good, good. I want this pill. How many are there?" "You idiot, when will it be your turn to ask for everything? Do you think that Jolie and I don't exist anymore?" the seductive nun said angrily. "Impossible, Wu Feng, who was dumbfounded, exclaimed, "Impossible. Okay, I know that the three of you don't like me, so let's work together to fool me, right?" Looking around, the students burst into laughter. Who is Madman Wu, who deserves the three new students to join forces to fool him? Not to mention how the medicinal pill was poured out of the bottle. What does the medicinal pill look like? He also stared at it. Just based on the incense and appearance of the pills, he could tell that it was a top-grade pill, but in the end, it was this Madman Wu who couldn't afford to lose, and he was embarrassed and lost the face of their veteran students. Come on, eat the table, don't lose. Don't talk about bullying new students, and even die without admitting it when you lose. You really deserve to be a Madman Wu. The sarcasm and the playful eyes made Wu Feng angrier. He shouted and ran away. The two female cultivators who were initially stopped by Wu Feng, who were looking at medicine pills, also felt ashamed. They were really suspicious of Wu Feng's words before. Wu Feng ran away by himself when the pills were true or false, which made them embarrassed and hated Wu Feng to death. There were 5 or 6 kinds of medicinal pills on display. In front of other people, the three who made the appraisal all bought medicinal pills. Tian Furong was very knowledgeable and gave them a 20% discount. It was sold, and he secretly winked at Zhou Li. He was much more generous than senior brother Zhou. 20% off? See how generous he is, 20% off. I'm coming. Give me a bottle of Huishundan. The injury I suffered last time used a middle-grade Huishundan, and it hasn't been completely cured. Give me a bottle of Chi Dan. The cultivation base has not grown much, and the high-grade Chi Dan will definitely be different. I want to return the Chi Dan, and I have a mission in just 2 days. Without the return Chi Dan, I can't do it. After a while, all the medicinal pills on the table and in the storage bag were sold out. Seeing everyone's disappointed eyes, Tian Furong hurriedly said, I will continue to set up a stall here in the future. Everyone please hurry up tomorrow, no medicinal pills are available. Come on, we still have high-grade talismans here. Seeing that my cultivation is so weak, do you dare to fool all the brothers and sisters? Dare to cheat? I'm afraid you will tear me apart. Haha, junior brother is right, just take a look at it. After a quarter of an hour, the charms were also sold out, making Bai Shiu'er beside him dumbfounded. This spiritual stone is too easy to earn, but she has also been exposed to the light, and came to watch the fun. She was attracted by the fragrance of the flour cake, so she bought a few pieces to try the new ones. You have 1 piece and I have 1 piece. The amount sold will be quite a lot. She really didn't expect to open her business on the first day as smoothly. Upstairs of the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce, not far away, 2 people were leaning against the window to see the situation below. Senior brother Zhang, these are the few junior brothers you're optimistic about? I didn't expect that Wu Lunzi would fall into trouble as soon as he came in. Wu Lunzi figured out that he was very ugly. Which junior brother made this high-grade pill? Or do they have their own channels? Zhang Yan looked at Su Pinjian next to him with a smile, clapped his hands and said, it was one of the juniors who practiced by himself. I don't know when Danfan will find out that Madman Wu was wrong and sent it to the door by himself. Su Pinjian had a general impression of Danfan, and said, they may have the same thoughts as Wu Madman. Why doesn't senior brother Zhang draw people into our Chamber of Commerce? High-grade Dan, those arrogant guys in Danfan may not be able to make it. Come out. Zhang Yan tilted his head to look in the direction of the stall and said, how do you know that others are willing to rely on others? Su Pinjian looked at senior brother Zhang in disbelief. Their Xingyu Chamber of Commerce had a lot of reputation, not to mention the new students. The old students all squeezed their heads and wanted to join the Chamber of Commerce. Beyond measure. However, they could not object to the decision made by senior brother Zhang. Forest asterisk. Junior sister Bai, please sell slowly, we will close the stall first. After saying goodbye to Bai Shiu'er, The four of them left the stall, and Guyao gave Tian Firong a thumbs up at this moment. I didn't expect Brother Tian to be a good businessman. Brother Tian hides it? Tian Firong was shy for a bit, and said modestly, "Where is it? It's normal." The little fat man gave him a big white eye. Then he said with a straight face, "Senior Brother Joe sent a message to me when he was leaving, saying that we should be careful about that Wu madman." The man didn't admit his mistake at first sight, and he probably hated us in his heart, and I don't know what will happen in the future. It's hard for us to take revenge. Guyao and Chi Changjai looked at each other. Guyao nodded and said, "It should be taken seriously. First of all, we need to find out what kind of person Wu lunatic is and how powerful he is in the academy, so that we can prescribe the right medicine." "Leave this to us," the little fat man said. "This topic will come to an end for the time being. I don't know what's going on, so what are you worried about? Today's opening is auspicious." The four of them purchased some spirit grasses and went straight to the cafeteria in the outer courtyard. They ordered several dishes. After drinking enough, he slowly moved back to the small courtyard where he lived. After the formation of the small courtyard was activated, both Guyao and Chi Changjai glanced back, then looked at each other tacitly. Guyao said, "Tian our brother, little fat man, we have already been targeted, not that Wu madman. The people who are here are the people who take a fancy to our elixir, so be careful when you go out in the future. Although the academy has regulations, internal fights are not allowed, and conflicts are resolved in the ring, but the academy is so big, it is impossible to observe everything, and no one can predict what happens in invisible places." Tian Firong and little fatty nodded again and again. "Don't worry, we will be careful. It seems that we will ask for news as soon as possible. In fact, there are places to sell news within the academy. If it really doesn't work, I will send out some spirit stones to buy news. Spirit stones are more important, and safety is more important." On the other side, a person ran to Wu Feng and whispered, "Angkor, I heard about their situation." These four people entered the door together and acted together. Now they live in District C. I don't think it's a big deal. That kind of place? I don't know where they got their medicinal pills and magic talismans, which made Angkor suffer such a big loss. Someone next to him said, "You forgot who brought them into the academy. That is Jolie. I think it is Jolie's ghost. That Jolie is not Zhang Yan's lackey. It's not easy. What they are afraid of is not Jolie, but Zhang Yan behind Jolie, and the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce behind Zhang Yan, which is the largest chamber of commerce in the college. They even do business outside the college. The ability to attract money is what the teachers of the college are jealous of. But no one dared to do it." Wu Feng clenched his fists tightly, with blue veins on his forehead, showing his anger. "Find a chance to teach them a lesson, no matter if they are instructed by Jolie. New students should be honest when they come in. Who gives them the courage to provoke us?" This kind of view can be recognized by some people. I think they were slowly getting out of the way at the beginning. When they first came in, they could only bow their heads obediently. Now they are not angry when they see that these new students have achieved what they can't do. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 67. Then Tian Firong and little fatty went to the stall at a fixed time. Gradually, the small stall in this humble location became famous, especially those who bought and used the elixir, became the repeat customers of the stall, and others also don't wait for the wind to act, so the business of the stall is getting better day by day. Similarly, Bai Shiuer's flour cakes are also very popular among female students who like sweets. There are also male practitioners who come to buy them, but they are a little secretive, and they end up with a reputation for eating sweets. Ahem, it is detrimental to the male practitioners from the sisters and sisters. A stalwart image. Therefore, among the new students in this class, apart from Pei Yuchun and Ho Chiang, the two most prosperous people, they are Tian Firong and Bai Shiuer. Anyone with long eyes can see that these two stalls the time spent on the stall is not long, but I can earn a lot. They are all masters of spiritual stones. Compared with the first two, these two are obviously more stamina. As a result, more people came to win over, including Pei Yuchun and Ho Chiang. They even lured and threatened Tian Firong to hand over the source of the channel behind the pills and magic charms. It made Tian Firong and Little Fatty feel helpless and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. With the spiritual stone, Gu Yao dared to go to the collection pavilion to look at various books, then practice alchemy, and go to the Chuan Gongtang to listen to the class together. Shijin Tianfu Academy, the most correct choice. Those spirit stones are not wrong. On this day, Gu Yao and Qi Changjai came back from the collection pavilion together. It was very convenient for Qi Changjai to bring Gu Yao Yujian to fly back. It was when he was entering and leaving the collection pavilion, he encountered the same new students, and the eyes of the two were very strange. Seems to be mixed with a faint disdain, seeing Gu Yao at a loss. "Brother Ye, what do you think they are looking at?" "I'm not wearing the wrong clothes," Gu Yao asked Qi Changjai in confusion. Qi Changjai chuckled, "I might be able to guess what they were thinking. They might think of us as those who eat Tian Firong's soft rice." In the past few days, he and Gu Yao spent a lot of spirit stones outside, but they didn't show any reluctance. They were very generous, which inevitably caused misunderstanding by others. The black line, Gu Yao's black line, is endless. He and Qi Changjai eat Tian Fiyeo's soft rice. They are supported by Tian Firong and the little fat man. What are these people thinking about? Can't they just focus on cultivation? Before dinner, Tian Firong and Little Fatty also came back and packed the set meal in the cafeteria. There are several grades of the set meal. The best ones have dozens of spirit stones, and the cheap ones cost 5 or 6 spirit stones, but I have to say the set meal is more delicious than other meals, and it also has a lot of spiritual energy. The cook who makes the set meal should be a spiritual chef. Not only the ingredients used are good, but also the aura in the ingredients can be fully stimulated, making it more suitable for the absorption of the human body. Since they discovered this package, they began to order the package. The current financial situation allows them to only eat the cheapest one, but it is also better than the meal outside the package. After the Lingxi earns more, they can slow down. Level up slowly. The more I integrate into this Tianfu Academy, the more I realize that I need to earn a lot of spirit stones. But as long as you have spirit stones, you can live the most enjoyable days. Gu Yao doesn't know what the other sects are like, but he thinks he and Qi Changjai can survive here. Tian Firong swallowed the food, took a sip of water, and said, "I have already inquired about Madman Wu, and I know how famous he is in the academy by listening to his nickname, but there are similarities, so there are many people around him who help him." People. Madza Wu is a member of the Crazy Snake Gang, so he's a middle-level one. Tian Firong frowned. The Crazy Snake Gang is also a small medium-sized force in the outer courtyard. In the past 2 days, people who bought medicinal pills reminded me. And little fat man, be careful of the Crazy Snake Gang. Wu Lunzi is not very popular in that gang, but if we step on Wu Lunzi, we will step on the Crazy Snake Gang and weaken their reputation. Tian Firong understands this kind of mentality. After all, he is also from the Tian family. No matter how small Yuanyang town is, it is worse than Tianfu College, but although the sparrow is small, it has all the internal organs. The Crazy Snake Gang is just bullying the soft and afraid of the tough. The persimmons pick up the soft and pinch them, and use them to build their prestige. Then the medicine pills and magic talismans in their hands may make the Crazy Snake Gang jealous, and they want to grab the so-called channels. It is undoubtedly a way to make money. There are about 50 or 60 people in this Crazy Snake Gang. The leader of the gang is Wu Meng. He is not too young. The second child and the third brother Xiong. Many of our new students were forced to join the Crazy Snake Gang. Once they entered, they paid 100 spirit stones to join the gang, which is no different from robbing spirit stones. Don't pay? He heard that someone was pulled into a corner and beaten, and there was no trace of it after beating, even if there was no place to call, so after being beaten a few times, he had to use the spirit stone to buy safety. Look at Chi Chang-jai, and then think of the fact that on the way out of Yuanyang town, Chi Chang-jai slashed the horns with one sword. Tian Firong was not too afraid of this boss Wu, but when facing Chi Chang-jai, this boss Wu would never get much advantage, but the other party there are so many people that Chi Chang-jai's fists are hard to beat. So before you have to, it's better not to hit the bar hard. The little fat man went on to say, I thought of a solution with Brother Tian, that is to use strength. Our medicinal pills and magic talismans are still very popular, and the power of the crazy snake gang is not so big that people are afraid, so it is clear that knowing that we have a conflict with the crazy snake gang, there are still some forces that want to win us over, so we can choose a force that is more particular about doing things and cooperate with us. Some people are taking advantage of the fire and wanting the four of them to join the gang they belong to. Little Fatty and Tian Firong are not stupid. They know what these people want. To be free from the constraints and control of others, how good it is to be free. Then what forces did you choose to cooperate with? Chi Chang-jai asked in a deep voice. Tian Firong took out a piece of paper and put it on the table. This is the various forces and the main situation that we have recently inquired about. It is definitely not complete, but it should be enough. Tian Firong gritted his teeth. I didn't expect the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce to be so powerful. He is the number one of the forces in the inner court and the outer court. No wonder he was only willing to give a 20% discount. It turned out to be rich and powerful, and Tian Firong admitted that he was jealous. Guyao and Chi Chang-jai leaned over to see that a name like the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce was quite serious, while other names were dazzling, and there were hundreds of people in the inner and outer circles like the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce. No, a small group of more than a dozen people can't be ranked at all. Just seeing these forces listed on this paper is enough to know how complicated the environment in the academy is. Really, it's not enough to want to live a peaceful life. Except for the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce and the Crazy Snake Gang, which was known only because of Madman Wu, they knew almost nothing about other forces. They originally handed the outside world to Tian Firong and Little Fatty, and because they trusted them, Guyao asked directly, which force do you like to cooperate with? The little fat man grinned. Doesn't Guyao think it is the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce? As far as we know, apart from senior brother Jolie, that senior brother Zhang Yan has a very high status in the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce. Tian Firong gave him an elbow. You think Guyao is so stupid? Compared with the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce, that is the small shrimp and the big beast, and the big beast will cooperate with the small shrimp. That is not called cooperation, but directly swallowed. The little fat man made a face at Tian Firong. It wasn't because he didn't get along with Guyao and Chi Chang-jai as long as Tian Firong, so the two sides always had to run in. During the run-in process, it was inevitable to explore each other's bottom line. Tian Firong turned his head and said, Guyao and Brother Chi, do you still remember the female cultivator from the first day? The two nodded together, because on the first day of the booth, it was impossible to forget the situation that day, and they were quite impressed by the female cultivator who appeared with Jolie. Tian Firong said proudly, she is called Tao Yu, some people call her Moon Fairy, and of course there are others who call her Moon Demon Girl. Anyway, she's not a character to be provoked, and many male students who want to beat her have suffered from her. Fairy is a member of Miaoun Pavilion. There are not many people in Miaoun Pavilion. They specialize in the business of female students, such as clothing, jewelry, and skincare products. People who join Miaoun Pavilion must also be female students, and they will never accept them. The male students may behave differently, not all female students like it, so the size of Miaoun Pavilion is similar to that of the Crazy Snake Gang, but its strength is actually better than that of the Crazy Snake Gang. The little fat man nodded in agreement. There are many beautiful women in the Miaoun pavilion. Maybe their first requirement for entering the pavilion is their appearance. If they don't look good, they don't accept it. It seems that junior sister Bai Xiu quite meets their requirements. I saw someone persuaded them. Junior sister Bai joins Miaoun pavilion. Junior sister Bai seems very tempted. Chi Changai's black line. Gu Yao blinked. Some doubt that these two guys chose Miaoun pavilion. Is it because of their strength or because they are confused by beauty? He asked, then Miaoun pavilion will see us and protect us from disasters. Don't be wishful thinking. Tianfirong touched his chin and laughed. Chi Changjai glanced coldly. Tianfirong quickly got up, coughed lightly and said, actually, the key lies in Guyao. Chi Changjai glanced lightly, and vaguely guessed what Tianfirong and the little fat man were fighting. Tianfirong patted the table and said, yes, success or failure is entirely up to you, Guyao. You are the backbone of our small group of 4, as long as you, Guyao, can come up with the beauty and skincare elixir that makes those beauty-loving female students tempted, they will definitely be happy to work with us. Puff. Guyao couldn't help but laugh. It turned out to be the case. He scratched his head and didn't consider the situation, but I can see if I can do it. Guyao, I believe in you, you can't do it, and it's even more impossible for other people. You say yes, little fat man. Tianfirong winked at the little fat man. Yes, yes, the little fat man nodded again and again. In fact, during this period of time, he had already admired Guyao's alchemy skills extremely, and Chi Changjai's talisman skills were equally good. It's not good for such a person to join a section thinking of coming to Tianfu College. Moreover, he is a little suspicious of the high-grade Baiwa pill that appeared in Shifang City. Is there any connection with Guyao? Whoever asked Guyao to shoot is a high-grade pill. Taking it out doesn't mean you won't practice. Also because the other pills in Shifang City along with the high-grade Baiwa pill are all high-grade pills, and the same is true for the one Guyao took out. It's the pot that Guyao carried, so he can't help but black line. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 68. A woman's money is easy to earn. This is a universally recognized rule in the interstellar world. It is the same in this world of comprehension. Guyao accepted this task happily. Chi Changjai also did not object. There are too many powerful enemies, and a crazy snake gang can't make him see it, but he is worried that the crazy snake faction will be defeated, and another crazy snake gang will come. So Chi Changjai accompanies Guyao to study the medicines and elixir for beauty, and Tianfirong and Little Fatty went to discuss with Miaoun Pavilion after the stall. 2 new students came over to do business with us? Or stinky men? Hurry up and get out. Are these new students thinking about Lingxi crazy and coming to our Miaoun Pavilion? Another female student's report, said impatiently. Tao Yu just walked downstairs and said, wait a minute, and stopped the female student who was about to turn around and chase her after receiving the order. Du Lingde took a whip in her hand and threw it all over the outer courtyard. No one does not know that this beautiful-looking Du Lingde is actually a violent woman. She once whipped a male student who was looking at her beauty and rolled on the ground begging for mercy. Finally, I heard that the male student had no face to stay in the academy. Left quietly. Because of this, Du Lingde felt angry when she heard that it was a male student who came here, and immediately chased them away when she saw Tao Yuechuan. Hand blocking, unhappy road to stop people for what? Or do you think Tao Yu has a crush on a young boy? It's not the first day that Tao Yu gets along with Du Lingde, she doesn't know her temperament, she chuckled, because I saw who was coming upstairs, so I'm very interested to know that they are talking to our Miaoun Pavilion. What kind of business, Dale? Don't worry, am I the kind of person who delays the business sisters in the pavilion from getting rich because of her beauty? Du Lingde wrinkled her pretty nose and said, okay, then, I'll follow along and see what flowers you can make. It would be better to have Dyer with me, let's go down together. Tao Yu took Du Lingde's arm. Pulling her downstairs together, Du Lingde looked like she couldn't stand you, but she didn't let Tao Yu make much effort, so she followed her strength and left. Tao Yu pursed her lips and smiled secretly. This soft-hearted Dyer is much more interesting than the stinking male students outside. Seeing Tao Yu, Tianfirong and little Fatty quickly stood up. Du Lingde, who was beside her, didn't know each other, but as soon as they saw the fiery red whip on her waist, Tianfirong and little Fatty realized which number she was in Miaoun Pavilion. Character, these legs can't help but soften, especially when Du Lingde swept over with a cold eye, cold sweat oozes out from the foreheads of the two of them. Mother, why did you provoke this evil star? They have also heard of During Day's name. Senior Sister Tao, thank you Sister Tao for helping the four of us out of the siege that day. The brothers and sisters are very grateful. Tao Yu looked at the two people in front of her playfully, and stretched out her hand to invite them to sit down. After Tianfirong and the little fat man sat down in shock, she sat down too, but Du Lingde insisted on standing behind Tao Yu. And stared at the two little fat men vigilantly. Tao Yu said with a smile, it's just a lot of work, not to mention that I got your 20% off the medicinal pill, so I took advantage of it. The two of you came to say that you are doing business with our Miaoun Pavilion. Is it because you want to sell the medicinal pill to us? That's good. How much do we charge for the pills? Miaoun Pavilion is of course interested in their pills, but it is not the existing pills that are interested, but the source of the pills behind them. Now that they can come up with intermediate level high grade pills, does that mean that there may be advanced pills? Top grade Dan? If anyone can master this piece, it will definitely be a lot of money, and it will also be of great help to improve the strength of the entire group. Tianfirong hurriedly took a sip of tea to suppress his shock. Fairy Moon was really not easy to mess with, and she wanted to take all their medicine pills as soon as she exported it. The little fat man licked his face and said with a smile, it's not the pill we sell now, it's the pill for beauty. We won't sell this pill, we can provide it all to Miaoun Pavilion. Tao Yu widened her eyes, then covered her lips and giggled, I understand, you have offended the Crazy Snake Gang, and you are afraid that the Crazy Snake Gang will trouble you, so you want to use the strength of our sisters in Miaoun Pavilion. Isn't it? Yes, as long as you tell us where the medicinal pills come from, Miaoun Pavilion can definitely protect your safety. Tianfirong and little Fatty's faces collapsed. Sure enough, the idea is similar to that of other gangs. They are to get what they want and then kick them away. Fortunately, the medicine pills are all refined by Guyao, and they are not afraid of Miaoun Pavilion. Guyao snatched them away and kicked them away. Tianfirong and the little fat man looked at each other. Tianfirong dared to say that this is not good, you have cut off our fortune, Miaoun Pavilion really doesn't want the medicine for beauty? Our shot must be a high-grade pill, and Miaoun Pavilion will not lose. Two little junior brothers, the boss Wu of the Crazy Snake Gang is not a good-natured person. He is especially short-term and vengeful, and he wants to save face. Do you really stop thinking about it? Tao Yu asked with a wink on her chin. Tianfirong gritted his teeth and said, then let's think about it again. These senior sisters clearly didn't cast eagles when they didn't see the rabbit. Tianfirong and the little fat man came out of the Miaoun Pavilion and looked back. The two of them sighed in unison. I think Guyao has to come up with a pill that can convince them. Now most of them don't believe what we say, Tianfirong guessed. The little fat man nodded in agreement, I think so too, each of them has a great appetite, but do we really need to find Miaoun Pavilion for cooperation? Tianfirong picked up his hand and said to the little fat man as he walked, only by working with them will not affect our own medicine pill business, and the gangs next to them will only have a bigger appetite. If we promise them, our future store it won't start, and Guyao's reputation won't grow. Those greedy guys will only hide Guyao for them to concoct pills. Tao Yu and Du Lingde went back upstairs and watched Tian Firong and Fatty leave. Tao Yu guessed, no one of the four of them made this medicinal pill personally, the two of them must be. It's not like, they don't have the unique aroma of alchemists. What on earth are you trying to do, said Du Lingde impatiently. Me, Tao Yu giggled, I really want to eat the alchemist behind this, but unfortunately people don't want it. I, Tao Yu, have always liked you and I will, so let's see if they can show it to me. We're excited, anyway. Dyer, you don't like that mad snake gang, don't you? Speaking of the crazy snake gang, Du Lingde's pretty face was really gloomy, and the whip twisted restlessly under the influence of her breath. Guyao didn't know how the cooperation between Tianfirong and Miaoun Pavilion was discussed. He devoted himself to researching medicinal pills related to beauty and skincare. In addition to reading the relevant books in the pill pavilion, he also went to the collection pavilion. He has flipped through all the few books, and recorded any valuable ones and brought them back for further study. In this way, a lot of spirit stones were scattered before and after. You must know that whether it is to enter the collection pavilion or to transcribe those books and jade slips, you need to spend spirit stones. Neither Tianfirong nor Little Fatty bothered Guyao so as not to distract him. On the other hand, Tao Yu made people pay attention to the situation of these four people, and Guyao's various actions were also reported to her ears, and she couldn't help raising her brows in surprise. Could it be that all those medicinal pills came from the hands of this little junior brother? That was too shocking. She went in and out of the collection pavilion every day, but she did not delay the sale of the elixir. She thought that the amount of pills could not be obtained by an alchemist, let alone any alchemist who could guarantee the elixir. Are the medicines top grade? Shocked, so shocked. For a moment, Tao Yu had the urge to hide Guyao, and then gathered the power of the whole pavilion to train him and let him refine a higher medicinal pill, but then he was poured down by a basin of cold water, because she did not forget, it was Jolie who came out first that day. She also saw the eye contact between Jolie and the four of them. She was not afraid of Jolie, but worried about Zhang Yan and the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce behind Zhou Li. Do they also know about Guyao? Case. In addition to studying books, Guyao also made a list every day, handed it to Tianfirong and Little Fatty to buy it back, and then plunged into his pill room to do a lot of experiments. The state, then the brain is still stuck in the experiment of the pill room. In Su Chen's opinion, this kind of behavior is purely irresponsible. After watching it for a few days, he couldn't stand it anymore, and he ran out and asked, "What are you doing with these women's things? You have this time to spend on alchemy, these things are not good for your alchemy. Any improvement?" After being called by Su Chen for a while, Guyao focused on him, pulled out his consciousness and entered the space, and asked with a puzzled face, "Why isn't this an alchemy technique? Why haven't you improved on alchemy techniques? Don't have such a small layout. Pills and medicines have many branches, but all roads lead to Rome, and the final destination is the same. Through the research of the past 2 days, I have a lot of experience, and I will definitely have some ideas for future pills. Help. Seniors, don't just see that these things are used on women. Those exotic flowers and herbs can be used as medicine. They don't have any bias in themselves, but those of us who use them. Okay. You. Su Chen didn't expect that he would be taught a lesson by this kid. Who gave this kid guts? Guyao stuck out his tongue, quickly slipped out of the space, and left a message, "Senior, don't forget, there are medicinal pills such as Zuyan Dan and Yanjian Dan, but I don't have the strength to refine them now, so I researched our simplified versions of them. There are records of these pills in the pill pavilion, but the pill recipes do not. You need to go up a floor to see them. The worst of them is the 8th grade pills. The beauty pills that appear outside are also simplified by other pill masters. Various versions of and what Guyao needs to do is to come up with a beauty pill with his own characteristics. The pill recipe was not found in the pill pavilion, but was found in the Academy's collection pavilion, and Guyao sharpened his knife and attacked them. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 69. Early in the morning, Tianfirong and Little Fatty walked out of the room while rubbing their eyes and beating ha-ha. Sure enough, they saw the two of them in the yard doing extremely difficult movements again. It is said that the set of things is practiced immovably, and it is said to be used for body training. On the first day of settling down here, Chi Chang'ai threw 2 pamphlets to them, and it was exactly the set of body refining techniques drawn on it. Chi Chang'ai explained to them at the time that things were from Guyao, and occasionally they came together. There are no restrictions. If they want to practice together, they can improve their physical fitness. However, on the first day of training, the two of them screamed, and their bodies were sore and stiff. I don't know how Chi Chang'ai and Guyao persisted. Down. Yes, let's practice with them. Tianfirong walked to the yard, stretched out his arms and kicked his legs, and moved his body, knowing that others could not ignore the good intentions of others, even though Tianfirong had extremely subtle hopes for the growth of his own strength, but neither Chi Chang'ai nor Guyao are his brothers, and they will not condone him unconditionally. However, this made the little fat man suffer. With his body shape, to practice this star physique, it almost cost him his life. He walked bitterly to the middle of the yard and started to exercise with gnashing teeth. Tianfirong and Little Fatty are over, but Chi Chang'ai and Guyao are not over yet, because the earlier you practice, the longer you can persevere and the more benefits you can get after you level up. Maybe he could heal his internal injuries gradually, bit by bit, without using the 7th grade healing pill. After sweating and washing up, the 4 of them ate breakfast together and placed it in the main hall. The main hall was no longer as empty as it was at first. There were rows of shelves with some miscellaneous books on it. If you have nothing to do, you can spend time here. There are items like chessboard pieces. After eating breakfast, Guyao took out several jade bottles from the storage bag, put them in a row, and put a label on it. Look, this is the result of my period of time, this is the way it is now, I can use it in the future. On the basis of continuous improvement, and the development of other beauty and skincare products. Okay, Guyao, I didn't expect to produce results so quickly, you are this. Tianfirong gave a thumbs up, and a soft smile flashed in Chi Chang'ai's eyes. He knew that Guyao could succeed. The little fat man took a jade bottle in his hand, and the label said whitening pill. The little fat man's expression was a little weird. Don't you just put powder on your face? Pour out the pills are light powder, and the fat man wondered if it would work. Tianfirong caught sight of his skeptical expression next to him, picked up the whitening pill and stuffed it into the little fat man's mouth. To say that the little fat man's complexion is dark, can you verify the efficacy of the whitening pill and use it on the little fat man? It's not right. It was too late for the little fat man to vomit. He rolled his eyes, and the whitening pill slid down his throat. The little fat man was furious. He got up and wanted to fight Tianfirong for 300 rounds. When it was time to set up the stall again, there were repeat customers who came to buy the medicinal pills. After seeing the appearance of the two of them, they asked curiously, why does junior brother Wei look a lot whiter today? Haha, it looks like white dough, junior brother, don't be angry, or it looks good in white. Tianfirong burst out in joy, the little fat man gasped out of his nostrils, but he was also shocked by the efficacy of whitening pills. As soon as this medicinal pill is released, it will definitely be popular with female cultivators, even male cultivators. It is estimated that they will also patronize. Aya, junior brother Tian seems to be radiant today. This is because the medicine pills are selling so much. The man praised Tianfirong again. Tianfirong laughed triumphantly. Yes, yes, if you are in a good mood, your face will be radiant, haha. Because the little fat man was forced to take a whitening pill and it worked quickly, he had to force Tianfirong to use one, so Tianfirong chose a Huanyan Dan. The fat man gritted his teeth in anger. Tianfirong is this bastard. After closing the stall, the two came to Miaoun Pavilion again. This time, Tianfirong was full of confidence. Seeing that Tao Yu and Du Lingde were receiving them again, they shrank a little, but thinking of the effect of the medicinal pill, they stood up again. He stretched his chest, pushed the live advertisement fat boy forward, and took out a bottle of whitening pill. Fairy Moon might as well take a look at our pill before making a decision. Seeing that the label on the jade bottle said whitening pill, Tao Yu looked at the little fat man again like a rare treasure, and saw that the little fat man wanted to hide behind Tianfirong, but was targeted by the moon demon girl. If you can hide, you have to pull it out. In the end, he reached out and squeezed the little fat man's face. His face flushed red. Is this a whitening pill? Yes, I used it this morning. This whitening pill can last for half a year to a year. Does Fairy Moon like it? Tianfirong smiled. Tao Yu glanced at Tianfirong angrily, so that his bones were brittle, but he also took a few steps away vigilantly. Tao Yu covered her lips and giggled, and when the laughter stopped, she stretched her hand forward, and said with a threatening smile, please take out the rest. If you don't take them out, don't even think about leaving our Miaoun Pavilion today. Out. Tianfirong had to honestly take out the various functions of the beauty pills that Guyao gave him in the morning, and put them in a row. After a while, several members of Miaoun Pavilion gathered around Tao Yu, vying to discuss these issues. I really wanted to try the efficacy of the medicine pill, but only Du Lingde was pushed to the back and rolled her eyes at everyone and Tianfirong. Only the cultivation base and strength are the most important. There are whitening pills, Huanyan pills, body beauty pills, and fragrant body pills. In other words, a single pill can replace the role of those fat powders, and some people used a fragrance body pill on the spot, not much. After a while, a fragrant fragrance emanated from the body, causing their sisters to scream in surprise. Tao Yu waved her hand and swept all the medicinal pills into her storage bag, and the scene became quiet. Okay, sisters, please leave. I will have a good talk with our junior brother Tian and junior brother Wei about this time. Cooperating. Haha, then please, senior sister Tao, remember to supply our sisters first. With the laughter of silver bells, these female cultivators finally left the stage. Tao Yu looked at the two in front of her with a half-smiling smile, tapped the table with her fingers and said, very well, your goal has finally been achieved. We Miaoun Pavilion decided to cooperate with the two of you, but how to cooperate, then we can talk. Yes, talk. An hour later, Tianfirong and the little fat man came out from the Miaoun Pavilion sweating profusely. Looking back at the Miaoun Pavilion, they both breathed a sigh of relief. The business of this cooperation was really not easy to negotiate. Fortunately, they suffered a lot. The purpose is still achieved. The little fat man rubbed his cheeks unhappily, and muttered, your face is hurting, what are these women thinking? Wouldn't it be better to pinch your own? It caused him to be hacked several times, but he didn't feel happy at all, so he wished he could get out sooner. Tianfirong also had lingering fears and said, let's go buy materials. Guyao opened a long list of orders before coming out. After purchasing, I returned to the courtyard, just as Guyao's research had come to an end. He sat under the tree and practiced wood and fire spells under the guidance of Qi Changjai. Although Qi Changjai was a lightning cultivator, he also studied and guided spells of other departments. Guyao is enough. Seeing the two come back, Guyao removed a wooden cage technique. Tianfirong and little fatty told them about the results of their cooperation. Among them are some feasible suggestions put forward by Tao Yu, such as Xiangti Dan, which I hope can be divided into January. The effect is 3 months, half a year, and the fragrance also needs to be differentiated, and different people's preferences will also be biased. Tao Yu wrote several fragrances that are more popular and sought after by female cultivators. In other words, just like a single fragrance body pill, you can play a lot of tricks. This woman's business is indeed more profitable than simply setting up a stall to sell medicine pills. It is possible, but Miaoun Pavilion can provide some materials. It is difficult for us to collect it by ourselves, and we may not be able to collect all of it. There should be a way for Miaoun Pavilion in this area, Gu Yao said after reading it. Yes, that's what the Moon Demon girl said. She said that Miaoun Pavilion can help. That's good. Half a month later, the 4 of Guyao came out of the Chuan Gongtang together. It happened to be taught by senior brother Zhang Yan today. The number of people who attended the class was the largest, and there were many female students who were crazy about senior brother Zhang. Guyao listened to it with relish. Brother Zhang was talking about the most basic theories about cultivation, and it was the one that Guyao lacked the most. In addition, Brother Zhang broke apart many basic things and explained, Guyao has many, the place has a feeling of opening up, and this lesson is worth listening to. Tian Firong and Little Fatty fell asleep when they heard it, and it was finally over, and they were refreshed. I don't know who shouted at the back. Different from the past, the scene of Brother Zhang surrounding him after class disappeared, and many female students rushed out. Come on, I'm afraid I won't be able to grab it later, this time I must grab the whitening pill. I like one of the lotus-flavored scented body pills. Oh, the person who developed this scented body pill is really amazing. I don't know who it is, but it must be some senior sister in Miaoun Pavilion. Yes, I think so too, but the scent of lotus-flavored deodorant is too light, I like it stronger. Accompanied by these excited voices, the female students rushed past them with a gust of wind. Such a crazy scene, the 4 people who knew these medicinal pills well, were also a little dumbfounded. They didn't expect the effect to be so good. What? Junior brother Gu, several junior brothers, Zhang Yan stopped the 4 of them and walked over, I'll go with you. Hello, senior brother Zhang, the 3 of Guyao called out honestly, and Qi Changjai nodded slightly to Zhang Yan. Junior sister Tao Yu invited me to sit at Miaoun Pavilion, why don't some junior brothers go and cheer for them? Zhang Yanyan smiled. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 70. This. Guyao looked at Zhang Yan suspiciously. It wasn't that everything they did behind the scenes was seen by Zhang Yan. Let's not go. The little fat man quickly shook his head, but he didn't want to be slapped in the face by the moon enchantress anymore. All of them were different from each other, and he didn't want to send himself to the door again. Tian Firong gritted his teeth and said, Brother Zhang, do you know anything? Zhang Yan smiled and said, the junior and senior brothers are very smart. As far as I know, Miaoun Pavilion has already released a message, and the 4 of you will be protected by them. The madness of the crazy snake gang is not strong enough to challenge Miaoun Pavilion. On the ring. Guyajing, when did this happen? Why don't we know? It was at the time of class that the crazy snake gang just sent the challenge book, and the Miaoun Pavilion has already taken over. Zhang Yan watched the faces of Guyao and the 3 of them change with interest. The only thing that didn't change was Qi Changjai. People. Tao Yu was able to judge based on Guyao's actions that the medicinal pill came from Guyao's hand, and Zhang Yan had no doubts. From the very beginning, he knew that Guyao was a very talented alchemist, and even he had some doubts. The top grade Baiwa Dan circulated in the book is likely to be related to Guyao. Guyao looked at Qi Changjai, and Qi Changjai nodded to him, then go have a look. So a few people went to Miaoun Pavilion. Tian Firong and Little Fatty could only follow honestly, and said angrily, the Mad Snake Gang is too bullying. If it wasn't for Miaoun Pavilion, what would they do against us? You don't know. Zhang Yan raised his eyebrows and said, the condition in the challenge book is that if Miaoun Pavilion loses, then the four of you will be dealt with by the Crazy Snake Gang. Gu Yao grinds his teeth. Deal with him. Take them for what? Crazy Snake Gang? Sooner or later, chop this mad snake into 10 and 8 sections and cook it in soup. Miaoun Pavilion is crowded with people today, and the door frame is almost flattened. Just because Miaoun Pavilion launched a few free trial versions of medicinal herbs a few days ago, it will be officially sold today. Needless to say, the free trial promotion activities were very successful. The efficacy of the medicinal pill quickly spread throughout the academy, and most of the female cultivators who came today wanted to grab the medicinal pill for their heart water as soon as possible. There are several medicinal herbs, and there is always one that can satisfy their wishes. Such a crazy scene makes the other shops and stall owners on this commercial street jealous. These women are so crazy, they can smash the stone for a face problem, and there are many male students among them. In order to please the female students, he also smashed spirit stones to buy several medicinal pills for them. At such a good time, the Crazy Snake Gang sent a challenge letter, and the Crazy Snake Gang thought that they had chosen a good time, so they could spread the word without special publicity, just waiting for them to defeat the girls in Miaoun Pavilion. The reputation of their Crazy Snake Gang will rise again, stepping on Miaoun Pavilion under their feet. It's a pity that they underestimated the female cultivator's love for beauty. The angry female student almost tore up the male student who sent the challenge book, so when Gu Yao and the others came, they could still hear others talking about the Crazy Snake Gang. How people run away in shame. Zhang Yan looked at the crowded Miaoun Pavilion and sighed, it seems that we are late, so we can only congratulate Tao and the others later. Tianfirong and Little Fatty were also a little jealous. It would be great if their stores in the future could have such a grand occasion, but I dared to think about it. Without strength and background, they can only make wedding clothes for others. There were a lot of people watching, and Gu Yao and the others just stood there for a while and then their ears were full. Who are the four new students who made the Crazy Snake Gang and Miaoun Pavilion act so much for them? Crowd. As soon as I heard what you said, I knew that you haven't been to the commercial street very much recently. I don't know that there is a stall selling medicinal herbs in the commercial street now. Madman Wu of the Crazy Snake Gang was looking for something to bully new students, but he didn't expect to be beaten. Face, the Buzzy Snake Gang hated these four people and wanted to get the place back. But how did they get into Miaoun Pavilion? Are these four junior brothers so handsome and handsome? Haha, maybe the bosses of the Crazy Snake Gang are a bit horrible to look at, so the girls in the Miaoun Pavilion have always hated them, haha. Zhang Yan was delighted when he heard it. Gu Yao and Tianfirong looked at each other, and then looked at Qi Changjai. Of the four, Qi Changjai was probably the one who met the standard, with handsome facial features and high temperament, but because of his identity card he was an entourage, so he made some female students look sorry for him. It didn't take long for the Miaoun Pavilion to be noisy again. Several people listened to it. It turned out that the newly launched medicine pills were already sold out. The people who bought them were very happy. The person who bought it was either questioning or asking when it would be available again. In the end, Tao Yu and Du Lingde walked out. When they saw the fiery red whip thrown by Du Lingde, the angry female student just now, be quiet. Sisters, I'm very sorry, because these medicinal herbs are new products that our Miaoun Pavilion has just developed, and the production process is complicated and difficult, so the quantity is limited. Dear sisters, please understand, Miaoun Pavilion will definitely try to meet the requirements of the sisters as much as possible. There was no stock left. Although the female students who didn't buy it were not reconciled, they could only leave in disappointment. They must come and grab it tomorrow, so although they didn't buy it, it aroused their greater desire and desire to buy. Maybe some of these people are dispensable, so even though Tao Yu is smiling, the joy in her eyes is sincere. These medicinal herbs are really selling well. It seems that Miaoun Pavilion will expand its business. The crowd gradually dispersed, but some female students still stayed in the pavilion, picking other items, and the waiters inside were all smiling. Zhang Yan walked in with Gu Yao and a few people at this time, and bowed his hands to Tao Yu. Yao Yao, congratulations to Miaoun Pavilion's business is booming, and the money is rolling in. It turned out to be senior brother Zhang and a few junior brothers, a small family in Miaoun Pavilion. How dare you compare with the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce? Senior brother Zhang and a few junior brothers are invited upstairs, Tao Yu said to the people below, and put a few people took them upstairs, and of course Du Lingde followed without a single step, causing Gu Yao to take a few curious glances. Upstairs, there were many brothers and sisters who came earlier than Zhang Yan. They were also invited by Miaoun Pavilion. When they saw Zhang Yan coming, they all stood up to greet him, and cast curious glances at the four Gu Yao behind them. As soon as the challenge book came out, even if the four of Gu Yao were not famous, they became famous this time. Many people wondered why Yunj came forward for these four. Tao Yu, you really don't have any whitening pills in your hand? I don't want to leave you with a few, a female student called out in displeasure. Tao Yu reached out and nodded. Blame me? What did you say when I recommended it to you earlier? Do you want me to remind you, my sister? Bah! It's because you don't tell me the truth. I don't care, you have to keep it for me anyway, otherwise, I'll take Sister Dai away. The female student rolled her eyes and hit Du Lingde, who was beside her. Idea. Tao Yu was not doing well yet. Du Lingde stared at the female student displeasedly and made others laugh. She wanted to dig the corner of Tao Yu and Miaoun Pavilion? Go back and forth from where you are. The stinky ladies of Miaoun Pavilion, our crazy snake gang is here. Do you dare to fight? If you don't dare to fight, hand over the people, and then make a grievance with our boss. Maybe our boss will let you go if he is happy. That is, a group of stinky women in Miaoun Pavilion. It is enough to hide in the pavilion to adjust fat and powder, but they want to come out and compete with our men. Go back to your nest. Haha, women are used to give birth to children, haha. Just as they were talking and laughing, there was a clamor from downstairs. Needless to say, it was the people from the Crazy Snake Gang. Looking down from the upstairs, the Crazy Snake Gang gathered dozens of people in front of the pavilion. The guests were scared away, and a new group of onlookers gathered around. The senior sister who just hit Du Lingde's idea showed disgust and anger. The people of the Crazy Snake Gang are doing things more and more badly. First, they bullied the new students without saying anything, and then provoked Miaoun Pavilion and the female students. These court death. Tao Yu stood in front of the window with a sneer at the corners of her mouth. Senior sister, why should they take their words seriously? They are just trying to talk about it. I see their good days are coming to an end. I really think female students are so humiliating. Let's go to the ring. Du Lingde's face was already dark, and after she finished speaking, she stepped on the fiery red whip that kept twisting and flew out of the window. Dyer is still so impulsive. Forget it, let's follow. This time you have to be more aggressive and beat Na Wu Meng. Let's go too, Gu Yao said. How could they be absent because of the four of them, and he didn't expect that the Crazy Snake Gang would act so arrogantly and without limit. Tao Yu waved and sent a signal, call the sisters and go to the Yanwu Hall to concentrate, and we can't weaken the momentum of our Miaoun Pavilion. Yes. It didn't take long for the two groups to go to the Yanwu Hall in a mighty manner, followed by a large number of people watching the fun, and some students who spontaneously cheered for Miaoun Pavilion, some female students, and some male students. It is too humiliating. The academy does not lack powerful senior sisters, and the people of the Crazy Snake Gang are simply courting death. The two groups of people on the road fought a war of words, but no one acted impulsively, otherwise they would fall into the inferior position. The ring area of the Yanwu Hall had obviously received the rumors early, the ring had been cleared, and there were people from the law enforcement hall who came to maintain order and act as referees. A tall and burly male student with a black face jumped onto the ring first, and the sturdy clothes on his body couldn't hide the knotted and bulging muscles on his arms. The people of the Crazy Snake Gang were cheering, "Boss Wu is mighty, the girls of Miaoun Pavilion will automatically admit defeat." Bah! The Crazy Snake Gang is shameless, apart from bullying the new students, what serious things can you do? The face is so dark, why don't we Miaoun Pavilion give you a whitening pill for free to go to the dark, haha.